Your uni, your team. From kick-off to the final whistle. This is the Shock Radio Sports Show.
Yes, hello and welcome to Shock Sport. It is me, Adam Skinn, still here. Jodie is not here this week, so I'm stepping in or sitting in. You can see that because you are watching on the cameras. How exciting is that? We're going to talk all things sport around the city of Manchester. We've got a review of the Premier League, Man City, Man United, and all the things going on behind the scenes at the minute. We're going to take a dive into the WSL and look at Man United and Man City in the women's game. We've got a look into our local team, Salford City, and how they're getting on inside of League 2. And we've got Finn, who has been at the game this weekend. And we've got a local sport roundup as well. In sport you can watch over the weekend because there is nothing like a bit of live sport.
Your uni, your team. This is the Shock Radio Sports Show.
Well, I'd like to welcome our two lovely guests into the studio today. Welcome to Shock Headquarters, Tyler and Will. How are you guys?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, a bit warm, but not bad on the whole of it. How are you keeping?
I'm all right. It's just, he said, a bit warm.
Yeah, very warm. It's the Shock sauna tonight. But would you like to introduce yourselves, give yourself a little spiel and the team that you support, if you couldn't quite tell?
So I'm Tyler. I'm a first-year student doing broadcast journalism, and I'm a Manchester United fan. Unfortunately, at the moment, but you know, we keep hope for. So yeah, that's me.
I like that.
And coincidentally, I do broadcast journalism. My name's Will, though a bit different, and I'm also a United fan, sadly.
Well, I think I might have to get in between you both at some point today. The two United fans in the studio. This is rare on Shock Sport. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an Ipswich fan. It sounds like an Alcoholics Anonymous sort of thing, that doesn't it? We're all
struggling
at a bit of a low at the minute, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're quite close to each other in the table, though, aren't we?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, how exciting is that? I want to go back to the Championship already. I'm scared of this Premier League thing.
Yeah, same.
Well, should we start with the arch nemesis and get that elephant in the room out the way? Man City took on Fulham over the weekend, and well, Max has got us a little clip to tell us what happened.
Yeah, with the City game, it was an interesting one. We should have really been 3-0 down at half-time if it weren't for Adama Traore not missing and not scoring his chances. I think defensively we don't look good this season, and that showed in this game. Fulham have been great, so it was a big test as a game, I guess. Got lucky, I think, with Doku scoring. I kind of eased the pressure towards the end of the second half. I think having no Rodri is going to be a really difficult thing for the defence, and it's been proven all the time this season. With especially Kyle Walker, he's not looked the best. I think Rico Lewis has pretty much took his spot already this season. But yeah, as much as Kovacic scored the 2 goals to save us as well, I think having no Rodri is going to affect us. And I think got very lucky in this game to even win it. I think it's lucky to get a draw.
And still have big players like Lucas sitting forward, Watson, Shepherd, Edwards, Lund, not even in the squad. I put him in the squad 2 players that way. So it's been incredibly pleasing. Yeah. There's been a bug going round as well. There's a number of us not too well. So I think to put in a performance like we did today was a tremendous testament to the players' mentality. And I said at half time that we were 0-0 against Walsall and we were sloppy and we acted that we were better than what we were with our flippancy to the game. And then we did that today. We stood up to the challenge of the opposition.
So how does today's performance compare with what you've seen from them all season?
I don't think the performances here have been that bad. If you look at Cheltenham here, a large part of the Walsall game, I remember speaking to Nicky after the Walsall game and they were saying at half time it was one of the best we played in Walsall, and then we were so bad in the second half. We've been okay on the road. I think when you look at it, there's been so many moments in our season where, listen, if I want a criticism of this team, we have to score more goals. We can't keep hanging on in games because you won't always hang on. Simply because of the level. You've got to find a way of putting the game to bed.
Now you're beginning to see sort of the level of you mentioned that this is one of the better teams that you've played in this division, and it is a tough division.
I'm starting to see better style of how I want the team to play. So we have a little bit of a direct style, but then equally at the same time we have another way of where we can also play and settle on the ball and ask certain questions of the opposition. I think from my point of view today, it's about standing up to some of the most physical, direct performances from the opposition. I think my players did that. Everyone's forgetting that you're talking a Walsall team, and this team is 2.5 years in the making. We spoke the other day with staff and players. It's now 39 different changes since I've been here.
Well, Man City, they came lucky, we heard in that package, to come through 3-2 winners against Fulham at the weekend. And that puts them second place in the Premier League table now. Only a point behind the leaders Liverpool, but it's not the high-flying start that we all expected from City, is it?
No, but I think that's because of Rodri. I think that was a big, because obviously him and Phil Foden didn't play much in the start of the season. But then after he got injured against Arsenal, I think that just, put down their confidence, because obviously you've got one of the best, if not the best, CDM in the world, covering your defence, helping you transition into attack. So, I don't know, I think that doesn't help. And then obviously you got the Newcastle game a couple of weeks ago. You could tell Rodri was missing then, so it's looking all right, but it's not looking how you'd think it was at the start of the season.
Do you reckon you could liken it to the start of last season when they lost De Bruyne? And they looked lost for about 2-3 weeks after that before picking themselves back up. Because they started the season incredibly. They were second to none, just scoring goals for fun. But it's the goal scoring that's really fallen off for them as well, I think. They're not creating the chances that they were beforehand.
No, I don't think so. What do you think, Will?
They do this all the time. Like, you look, this Pep team consistently start September a bit weak. Like, they lost to Wolves 3-2, and Adama Traore scored twice a few years ago. And it comes around to January, February, and they just don't stop winning. Like, they've made finals of cup competitions, and then they're up there in the league, and it happens every year. They sort of go over these rough patches. Like, as you said, they're not creating chances, but come February, they'll be in title mode.
Yeah, and when they are in that title mode, they are one of the most dangerous teams that you can watch. They are the team that can be 2-0 down and then just turn it on like that for like 10 minutes and they've put 3 past you.
We saw it against, a few years ago when they won the league against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
When they were 2-0 down and then Gundogan yeah. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see because it's the start of the season, so.
It is, and it is the start of the season, but it is around this point where you see the tables in all the tiers of football start to take their rough shape.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to have Liverpool and City at each other's necks again, which is good.
Yeah.
Arnold Slot has done absolute wonders in that Liverpool squad. It pains you to say it, but
it does a bit.
They are looking very, very good.
But yeah, before, obviously before the season started, when they heard that Arnold Slot was coming in, no one was really optimistic. Well, obviously I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I wouldn't know. But from what I heard, they weren't very optimistic. But not that it's the exact same as Jurgen Klopp's play, but you just don't see any not a difference, but it's like the players have just easily slotted into the no pun intended, but into a system which it's good for them, but I'm not really fond of it.
It's just what he's done with Gravenberch is amazing. He's got this leggy 6'2" midfielder who covers so much ground, and is what you'd say is a traditional number 6, a bit of a destroyer. But then he's got the transitional phase and the passing phase locked down. So he covers the defence excellently, and then going forward as well, he's brilliant. And I think what's helped as well, Van Dijk's stepped up quite a bit. He's not been Liverpool haven't won the title in a few years. He's not been great, but his passing and just winning of duels has been great. And I think them two have helped steady the ship and give us stability, because you look at Trent, he's not great defensively, but with that stability around him, you can cover gaps in your team like that.
Yeah, 100%, and it's good to see Van Dijk sort of getting back into that form, because he kind of went a bit missing come the back end of last season. We're just going to stick on City for a little bit more. Obviously, there's the whole FFP thing going on in the background, and they had a little mini win this week, but it's still obviously lingering in the background. And do you reckon that sort of thing plays on players and coaches' minds throughout this season? And do you reckon that could have an effect on their performance out on the pitch?
Well, isn't Tixie Bergerson leaving? He said that last night.
Yes.
I think you look at Pep Guardiola and people above him. I think they're worrying. And it's their job to worry at the end of the day. But
yeah, I agree. I think in the players' minds, they're obviously gonna think about it because it's. I think for me, it's just the whole uncertainty around it. I think if they knew what was going to happen at the end of the season, then they'd be much more, they'd have a better frame of mind because they know what they do. But I think just the whole uncertainty around what, like, are they being deducted points? Are they just going to get a massive fine? Are they, even going to be relegated straight to the Championship? It's just that whole uncertainty, really.
Yeah, it's the uncertainty that it's just difficult to shake from your mind, and it can linger on certain people, be it a coach, be it backroom staff, be it any of the players. And it's difficult to kind of shake that thing. But shall we move on to the other Premier League club from the great city of Manchester, who were away at Manchester Villa? And I'm going to read this script word for word. So our head of sport, Jodie Keane, has written this for me. And can you tell that she's an Aston Villa fan? Manchester United couldn't find a win, in capitals, again, away at Villa Park. This weekend, as the game ended goalless, as Villa came off the back of a huge 1-0 win against Bayern Munich this week. She didn't happen to mention the 2-2 draw away at Portman Road the week before, did she?
No.
That was massive. That's what I think. But I'll stick my nose out of it.
United failed to find a win. Villa didn't offer anything.
Yep.
The game was nothing. It was a 0-0 draw. Tells you all you need to know. Johnny Evans, 36 years old, was man of the match. Aston Villa offered nothing in attack, so United's defence looked perfectly fine. United offered nothing in attack, and it was a nothing game. Villa didn't try to win. United tried to nullify Villa and probably did that well, but still, you can't give United credit because it's not good enough at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. My flatmate actually went to this game as a United fan, and he came back in on Sunday night, and I've never seen someone just look more fed up. He's like, I've gone all the way down to Birmingham to watch Aston Villa, to watch Man United play, and genuinely, you could have watched the 60-second highlights reel on Instagram, and that was more exciting than the actual game. It was very nothing in. It's not what I expected from that fixture, especially because they're two teams that, they've had very different starts to the season, but they have also offered quite a lot in attack individually.
It's even the games last year, was the one before Christmas, or after Christmas, sorry, it was 3-2. United coming back from 2-0 down, and then you got the whole Højlund thing scoring. And then the fixture after, I forgot the score, but McTominay scoring in the last minute with a header. Both of them exciting games. You'd expect at least some goals in this game, but I think it was, a mixture of the uncertainty for United, them trying to, like Will said, nullify Villa, but then also Villa coming back off a really good win against Bayern Munich, because I know Jodie said it in the thing how it was a huge win, but it was a huge win, and them coming off that, it's just a mix of both. But yeah, you still expect some sort of goals in there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you said about the uncertainty, obviously many people saw it as a last chance saloon for Ten Hag. Even like the United stand put out, Ten Hag's put out a squad to get himself sacked here. We're not looking good. What are your thoughts, both as United fans, on the current situation with the club and the manager? I'm
a United fan. I don't make the decision on who is the manager, who are the players. I'm just there to support them. My own personal opinion, I don't think they want to sack him, because I think they just gave him a new contract and they've just backed him in the summer. And to sack him now would cost somewhere in the region of 17 million, which FFP and all that United don't have. And I think, who do you bring in? There's talk of Thomas Tuchel, but he's got a bit of the Mourinho about him, where once it goes wrong, goes really wrong. We've seen that. Chelsea probably wasn't his fault, because, bloody hell, no one survives at Chelsea.
No, not at the minute.
But there's no candidate that I think they're 100% on, and I think they're waiting to just see where this goes, because United have got a nice run of next week. She's got Brentford on the 19th, and for the next 7 or 8 games, the biggest game's Chelsea. Chelsea are in good form, but again, you never know what Chelsea are going to do. There's winnable games. If you can turn it around, I think they'll give him till May and then find someone new.
Yeah, but we've got 8 points from 7 games. It's the worst start to a season since it says the 1989 to 1990 campaign, which was even before the Premier League existed. And the worst start before this season was last season. So you've got basically 2 years of Ten Hag being. We might. There's no sugarcoating it. It's poor. It's poor, really. And Manchester United, even though we haven't been the best club in since we last won the league, 2013, you still expect United to be up there, whether that's top 4 or fighting for the title. So it's difficult. I think I think for the owners, if you're gonna have to stick it out or at least monitor it. Like Will said, there's no real proper candidate that is outshining the rest that you really want to bring in. So you backed him in the summer. Just because he won the FA Cup, so you're gonna have to back him now. That's what I think.
Yeah, Will, you made a really strong point there. If they wanted to sack him, they'd have done it already, and that keeping him on through the summer, because there was a few managers that actually went down to Old Trafford and had talks over the summer. Kieran McKenna was one of them, and I thought as soon as I read that headline, he was gone. I was heartbroken. Genuinely, I was like ripping up pictures, ripping up posts. I was like, "This is it. We're over."
Dartboard with his face.
Yeah, genuinely. I was fuming, and but no, we managed to keep him. How? I don't know, but I'm very thankful.
I just think it's because we beat City in the
That's
FA
exactly
Cup,
what it
and
was.
do you know what we played? I think that's one of the best. That's one of the best games I've seen United play since Ten Hag has been in charge. I'm going to say we played Man City in that, especially that first half. We played Man City off the park.
Yeah, you genuinely outplayed City, which is something that I don't think many teams, if any teams, can say.
I think even going into that game, I was like, oh gosh, it's going to be another it's going to be an absolute destroying. But yeah, we got lucky with Garnacho's goal. But I think before then, you see, I remember when we were pressing in there, we were pressing Man City in their half, and we were getting the ball, we were getting them to make mistakes, and then that whole, even the Mainu goal was just it just explains that whole first half, and obviously the second half they're gonna attack, and I know they scored a goal, but I think Onana should have done better on that goal. But yeah, I just think it's annoying, especially this season, watching the last game of last season being that FA Cup, of like, why can't we play like that? Like, I just like, because we played so good, but then this season it just went to pot, really. I just don't really understand why, but that's not my place to guess, really, is it?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed with time. And it's always this with time sort of thing, but fingers crossed they can get back and start actually fighting and giving people games, because it is good to see Man United up there. From a neutral's perspective, I like it. My brother's a United fan. I've wound him up my entire life about it. But no, it is good to see them. So I think we'll have a bit of Shania Twain, and then we'll start talking about the WSL. Yep.
Let's go, girls.
There we are, Shania Twain. She's feeling like a woman. Are we feeling like women, or just still here in the studio, aren't we?
Yeah.
The shock sauna, as we're calling it. Well, topically, we are moving on to the WSL. That was really clever, whoever put that in the music log.
Yeah, that's quite smart, actually. I didn't think of that. Yeah,
there you go. Pat on the back. But we're moving on, and we're going to start with the United women's team. And, well, they had no game this weekend. Their match was postponed, because they were meant to be playing Chelsea in the WSL. But Chelsea was scheduled to play in their Women's Champions League game this week. So, is it a good idea, or do we think that these postponed games could become a bit of an issue later down the line this season?
I don't think so. Not for United. They're only in the Women's FA Cup, the Women's League Cup. They beat Liverpool 2-0 in that. And they're not in the Women's Champions League, so they've just got the league. I don't think there's as many teams in the Women's League. And they're only one game behind. They're sitting fourth in the league, 2 games played, win against West Ham, win against Everton. They've got Spurs on Sunday, and they're sitting fourth, which is good going. City are top on 7 points, having played 3 games, and there's only Chelsea who have played 2 and are who are catchable, really.
Yeah, and they're going to play Tottenham, and Tottenham have won 1, drawn 1, lost 1, the Holy Trinity, and their form has dipped throughout the season, so it's definitely a winnable game, and if they win 3 on the bounce in the league, then it'll put them top, depending on what Chelsea do. And that could be quite big for the season, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think there's been a lack of investment in the women's team, and I'm not saying it's rightly so, because United men's are the main attraction, but like they had Mary Earps leave in the summer, England's #1, hero at the Euros just gone, Captain Katie Zellum left.
You had Russo leaving the year before just gone, yeah. So
and they're not leaving for money; they're leaving on frees because we're not paying the fees. So there's holes in the squad that are being taken up by lesser figures, not as highly skilled, but United's still plodding along. Clinton's got the most goals with 2, and the superstar Ella Toon is still there, still playing, just yet to get going, like reach the heights of what she's previously done. But I think Mark Skinner, if this form can continue, they're not favourites for the league, but they can finish 3rd or 4th and have a good season with what they've lost.
And I reckon once they do all start firing, when Ella Toon starts firing, they genuinely could mount a bit of a challenge and start to scare some of those bigger teams with the bigger budgets.
I think this season for the women's is the most open. I think you've got you've got Chelsea, you've got Man City, you've got Arsenal are always going to be up there, but then you've got United creeping in. You've got on the table you've got Brighton, who are 3rd right now. You've got Liverpool, who had a good win on the weekend. I think out of all the seasons of women's of recent time, this is the one that's the most open. So hopefully you'd want United to come up and have some bit of a challenge, because I think was it the season before last season? I think we had a really good season, and then obviously last season was a bit. But this season you don't know what's going to happen. I think could be a really open season.
Indeed, but it is quite an interesting looking at it from the outside, seeing the big players that have left over the last 2 seasons, like your headline players, and now it's almost as if the team has bonded better and are playing better as a team, and it's reflected in the results, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think Mark Skinner knows what he's doing. He's been in charge. He's took over from Casey Stoney, I think, for about 3 years now, 3-4 years, and I think the core group of players that have been there, he knows and he's nurtured. He's added to. Added Mallard on a permanent deal. She was on loan from Lyon last year, scoring 7 goals. She's a striker. She can play up front. But I just think United women just need to keep plodding along. Like they won the FA Cup last year, and just have an upward trajectory. It doesn't have to be astronomical. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as there's a upward trajectory, then I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, 100%, and it'd be great for the sport seeing them do so well. We'll move to the blue side of the city, and they had a 2-0 win against West Ham at the weekend. At least somebody can beat West Ham this weekend. Mary Fowler and Lauren Hemp both scored, but yeah, it's a strong win, and it sees them back top of the WSL table.
Yeah, they've had a draw against Arsenal, a win against Brighton. Brighton sit 3rd, which is quite a good result, and then a win against West Ham, like you said. They've got Liverpool on the coming Sunday, tough game, and then tonight they've got Barcelona in the Champions League. Probably the toughest game you can get in Europe in the women's.
Yeah, I agree.
Women's in the minute. They've won the 2 previous Champions Leagues before this year, so they're the favourites. You can't beat them, really. They've got Barcelona, Hammarby and St. Polten in the group, and City are getting a few players back from injuries. They've had a few knee injuries with McClure and Shazima, and then Rhodes just come back from an ACL, played 45 minutes the weekend, and I think City, they just keep that core group of players together. They've obviously got the quality, brilliant in the WSL, and I don't know what the result will be. I have a feeling Barcelona going off, winning the 2 previous Champions Leagues, probably pip them. But
yeah, I think they'll nick it. Yeah,
but they've just got to keep going. English teams just need to keep going in Europe, both men's and women's.
Yeah, no, I reckon it will be quite a tight game, and it'll be a good watch as well, and it'll be a lot closer than I think an outsider would think, looking at Barcelona's previous results in the women's game. But no, it should be quite exciting, and it's a good challenge to throw themselves at.
Yeah.
But looking at the WSL, do we think that City have the mettle to go all the way this year?
We're only 3 games in, aren't we, really? There's only Chelsea and United who've only played 2 because that postponed game at the weekend. But there's going to be a load more games to come, as we've got both the cups. So you just got to. It's Gareth Taylor's got to decide whether he wants to put all his eggs into one basket and go for the league, or spread them and have his squad possibly spread thin and go for the cups. And that's the decision across both men's and women's football.
I think Chelsea are going to nick it again. I think Chelsea are going to win it. They've kept the same core group of players as they did last year. They obviously added Lucy Bronze, who is obviously one of the best players in the world. She just came back from Barcelona, so if you're playing for Barcelona women, you have to be doing something right. Obviously, they have Sam Kerr back still there. Lauren James is still there. Obviously, Millie Briar's in the defence. I think it'll be tighter this year, but I still think Chelsea will win it this year, personally.
Yeah, no, Chelsea have looked strong, and yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the fact that they've won their opening 2 games. They've only played 2, but it's proof is in the pudding that they haven't lost, and they haven't